Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a nice, refreshing break. So let's continue with our application questions concerning the market environment. So our first question is a scenario, and it reads, read the following scenario and answer the questions that follow. Same but different antiques. Aisha owns same but different antiques. She has many consumers. They also recently opened another antique shop named Same Antiques in the nearby area. She regularly donates money to the local community-based organization, Sunshine Daycare. The first question, A, identify the relevant business environment addressed in the scenario. And B, identify two components from the business environment identified in question 1A. And then, of course, the question continues. Motivate your answer by quoting from the scenario. So let's take a look at question A. Identify the relevant business environment. So always remember, business environment refers to only one of three options: micro, market, or macro environment. So when we look at the scenario, the second sentence refers to her having many consumers, which is then, of course, a factor in the market environment. And then it also refers to Same Antiques, which opened its doors in the nearby area, of course, a competitor. And then it continues and says she regularly donates money to the local community-based organization. So when we look at consumers, competitors, and CBOs, they are, of course, all factors or components, rather, of the market environment. So our answer here will be market environment. Okay, so now we can move on to question B. Identify two components, so only two is needed, from the business environment identified in question 1A. Now, we already know now it's the market environment. So we must identify two components from the market environment out of the scenario. The question then continues. Motivate your answer by, of course, quoting from the scenario. Okay, so let's use this little table. Let me just remove those red marks. We will identify the components in the first table and the motivation will be given in the second. So when we refer back to our scenario, the second sentence says she has many consumers. So this can be our first component because it refers to consumers. All right. Our motivation, of course, will be the quote, she has many consumers. Remember, when quoting, word for word as it is stated in the scenario, and of course the whole sentence as far as possible. So consumers is our first option. I'm just going to delete it here quickly for us to look at the other two options. Okay, the second option is then, of course, the competitor. Okay, so remember, in the scenario it states they also recently opened another antique shop named Same Antiques in the nearby area. And any business that delivers the same products or service as we do is our competitor. So our component will be our competitor, and our motivation then, of course, will be quoting that whole sentence, word for word as is stated in the scenario. Then the third option for an answer here will be the last sentence. So she regularly donates money to the local community-based organization. So our last one will be CBOs, or community-based organizations. And then again, our motivation will be that whole sentence there at the end. She regularly donates money to the local community-based organization, Sunshine Daycare. So we are lucky now. They only asked for two, but we have three options. So you could either have answered competitors and CBO, or you could have included consumers in your answer and provided that short sentence as your motivation, of course. All right, so that is then our question 1 answered. Let's move on to our question 2. Name the market environment component described by each of the following statements. So they specify, they tell us it's the market environment, so we can already start and think, is it the consumer, the supplier, what is it they are describing here? So let's take a look at the statements. The Red Cross, okay, so that is a specific organization's name, which is already a clue. The Red Cross delivers medical services to underprivileged communities free of charge. So this is obviously a business or an organization that addresses welfare or socioeconomic issues. So this will be an example of an NGO or a non-governmental issue, because the Red Cross is a national or an international organization which address then socioeconomic issues. All right, so our answer here will then be NGOs or non-governmental organizations. Okay, then we look at statement B. Edgars and ABC Mall are working together on a major fashion show that promotes both of them. So they are working together. They are getting promotion from this project, so they are both gaining competitive advantage. So this is an example then of strategic allies. Okay, so remember, strategic allies are businesses that work together on a specific project. In this case, it's Edgars and ABC Mall working together on the fashion show, and both will get then a competitive advantage from this project. So in this statement, it says that they both are getting promotion or advertisement from this specific project. So this will be then, of course, strategic allies. Okay, our next statement then states they opened a new grocery store. I think it cut off here, in the area of Rashid Grocers. So we can state that it's a grocery store in the area of Rashid Grocers. So it is a business that is delivering a similar product or a similar service. Therefore, it would be competitors. Okay, and then our last statement, the NCR. NCR, of course, is abbreviation for the National Credit Regulator, is a governmental body that ensures the National Credit Act is implemented correctly. So remember, when it's a body that makes rules and regulation to monitor the activities of a business, it is referred to as regulators. All right, so regulators then, the government body, which in this case makes sure that the Credit Act is implemented correctly. All right, that's it for question 2. So let's move on to our last application question. Of course, a scenario given, Tiger Tires. Tiger Tires is a dealership that has been in business for 20 years. Recently, a new tire dealership, opened in the nearby area. Their supplier, ABC Limited, is not delivering their products on time. A nearby car manufacturer offered Tiger Tires a contract to supply them with tires. A decrease in import taxes has helped Tiger Tires to improve their profits. Now question A, quote 2 threats. Again, quote 2 threats from the given scenario. And question B asks, quote 2 opportunities. So remember, threats, anything that has a negative impact on our business or can prevent us from succeeding in our business. And then, of course, opportunities will be anything that will help us to succeed in our business. So for question A with the 2 threats, let's go to our scenario and take it sentence for sentence. So the first line or the first sentence is only an introduction. Tiger Tires is a dealership that has been in business for 20 years. Then the sentence continues. Recently, a new tire dealership opened in the area. So this is a new competitor. And this can then, of course, be seen as a threat. So this is our first threat right there. Then the scenario continues. Their supplier, ABC Limited, is not delivering their products on time. So this is also a problem because if we don't get products delivered, we don't have products to sell. So this is then our second threat. So let's go put our two threats in then, and we will of course quote them. So we will write them as is out of the scenario, word for word, the entire sentence. So there we have it. The new Tyler's dealership that opened in the area. And the last one then, of course, their supplier, ABC Limited, is not delivering their products on time. So there we answered question A. We quoted our two threats. So let's continue to question B, where we want to quote two opportunities. So let's go to the scenario. Here, a nearby car manufacturer offered Tiger Tires a contract to supply them with tires. Of course, this is an opportunity because it's a big contract. It will give us money. So this is our first opportunity. And then the last sentence, a decrease in import taxes has helped Tiger Tires to improve their profits, which is then, of course, decreasing our Tiger Tires' expenses and is therefore an opportunity. So then we will quote these two sentences, of course, exactly as it is stated in the scenario, and these will then be our two opportunities from the scenario. And that's it for application questions. Before we wrap up, let's take a short break.